A woman says her 8-year-old son ordered an AK-47 rifle from the dark web.
There was no trouble whatsoever. There were no checks.
Right.
An 8-year-old could just go on the dark web.
Right.
Nearly 300 people were arrested worldwide after a crackdown on drug trafficking.
A fingertip presses a single button. A dark screen flashes out. Servers go silent. Moments later, tactical teams move in. One in Austria, another in Brazil, more in the United States, France and Spain. When the dust settles, 270 people are under arrest. Over 2 tons of fentanyl, 180 firearms, and millions in crypto seized. This isn't a movie scene. It's the real-life takedown of a digital empire that lived in the shadows of the internet. This was the moment the world saw how far the dark web had grown, and how deep law enforcement was willing to go to stop it. Welcome to Beyond the Click, the inside story of the most coordinated strike ever against the global darknet drug and weapons trade. Before we begin, subscribe now, because what you're about to hear isn't a conspiracy or fiction, it's the war for the soul of the internet, and it's happening right now. The button that shut down the underworld. It started with a fingertip. Somewhere in the United States, a federal agent watched his screen as a signal pulsed through a hidden server farm. Within seconds, hundreds of dark web marketplaces went offline. Vendors panicked. Buyers disappeared. It was part of a months-long operation coordinated by ICE Homeland Security Investigations, HSI, Europol, and partners in Austria, Brazil, France, Germany, and the Netherlands. They called it a global digital raid. But this wasn't just about shutting down websites. It was about dismantling the real-world empire hiding behind them. Because every anonymous username, every Bitcoin transaction, every encrypted message pointed to something tangible: warehouses, labs, guns, and bodies. For the first time, the invisible world of the dark web collided head-on with reality. The dark web myth. To most people, the dark web sounds like a ghost story. The hidden internet you only reach through special browsers like Tor, where anonymity reigns and anything is for sale. But for those who lived inside it, the dark web was a global supermarket of vice. Cocaine, meth, fentanyl, counterfeit IDs, automatic weapons, even human trafficking contacts, all traded through encrypted chats and paid in cryptocurrency. The illusion was safety. Buyers thought they were untraceable, sellers thought they were invincible. What they didn't know was that every packet of data, every click, was leaving behind a breadcrumb. And law enforcement had been following those crumbs for years. The unraveling of a digital empire. The first clue came from an overdose in Los Angeles. Investigators traced the pills to a vendor operating under the name Silver Haven. But the coins used to pay for the drugs were linked to wallets active in 3 continents. That tiny thread unraveled a web connecting dealers in Europe to chemical suppliers in South America, and to the same servers that hosted illegal gun markets. Over months, cyber agents worked in silence. They infiltrated vendor groups, posed as buyers, and slowly mapped the hierarchy. They discovered clusters of dark web markets operating like cartels, each one specializing in something different: drugs, weapons, or logistics. These markets had their own customer support, refund systems, even loyalty programs. One internal chat read, "We deliver faster than Amazon, only deadlier." Operation Dark Harvest. By early 2025, the web of evidence was too strong to ignore. Interpol and Europol launched Operation Dark Harvest, later expanded under ICE's leadership. The plan: simultaneously raid dozens of suspects worldwide, freeze crypto assets, and seize the servers that hosted these underground markets. At dawn, teams in 18 countries executed warrants. In one warehouse near São Paulo, police found half a ton of fentanyl precursor chemicals hidden in barrels labeled as cleaning products. In Austria, a server farm was discovered behind a fake cloud storage company, containing data from over 60,000 dark web users. In Los Angeles, agents stormed a home packed with 3D printed gun parts, ready for assembly and sale. Each location connected to the same encrypted communication channel. For the first time, law enforcement had pierced the illusion of anonymity. The crypto trail. Following the money was the hardest part. Traditional bank trails vanish in the dark web. Every payment happened through Bitcoin, Monero, or Ethereum mixers, designed to scramble identities. But ICE's crypto tracking task force, using AI algorithms and blockchain analysis, uncovered the hidden flows. They found wallets that looked clean, only to discover they were laundering millions through NFT marketplaces and online casinos. Over $60 million in digital assets were frozen. Authorities realized they weren't just chasing drug dealers, they were hunting a fully digitized criminal economy. The dark web had become Wall Street for crime, complete with brokers, investors, and laundering firms. Guns for Bitcoin. Perhaps the most chilling discovery was the scale of the weapons trade. On dark web forums, users could order handguns, assault rifles, or even conversion kits, shipped in disguised parcels through global mail systems. The raids revealed 180 firearms, many connected to real-world shootings across Europe and the Americas. Sellers used 3D printing technology to produce weapon parts, then sold assembly instructions as encrypted files. Payments were instant, untraceable, and lethal. The dark web wasn't just selling drugs, it was arming the chaos, and every transaction left the world a little less safe. The hidden players. Behind the vendors were puppet masters, coders, chemists, and logisticians. Some were ex-military technicians, others were software engineers laid off from tech firms. They built encrypted networks stronger than most government firewalls. One suspect in France had developed an AI bot that answered customer inquiries 24/7, ensuring smooth operations even during police crackdowns. Another, arrested in Germany, ran a tutorial channel teaching others how to build marketplaces from scratch, complete with step-by-step code and escrow systems. The dark web had its own teachers, mentors, and investors, a criminal Silicon Valley thriving on addiction and greed. The arrests and the fallout. When Operation Dark Harvest concluded, 270 individuals were in custody across continents. More than 2 tons of fentanyl and meth were seized, along with stacks of counterfeit cash, hundreds of passports, and over $90 million in assets. But the fallout didn't end with arrests. Shutting down these markets created a vacuum. Within weeks, smaller sites began popping up, faster, smarter, decentralized. Authorities realized the dark web had learned to mutate like a virus. Each takedown only pushed criminals to invent new ways to hide. The war wasn't won, it had just moved deeper underground. The geopolitical dimension. This was no longer a domestic issue. The dark web trade mirrored global politics. Drugs sourced in Latin America, shipped via Africa, sold in Europe, and paid for in crypto, routed through Asia. Some intelligence reports even linked certain groups to state-sponsored actors, using drug money to fund political agendas or cyber warfare. Europol called it the intersection of organized crime and cyber espionage. The implication was terrifying, that some of these networks weren't just about profit, but power. The dark web had become a geopolitical tool, one capable of destabilizing economies, spreading addiction, and fueling violence across borders. The psychology of the dark web. To understand the scale of this world, you have to understand its people. Most users weren't hardened gangsters, they were ordinary individuals, driven by anonymity and temptation. A struggling student selling counterfeit pills. A chemist experimenting for extra income. A veteran turning his technical skills into arms manufacturing. They convinced themselves it wasn't real crime, just digital trade. But each click, each sale, carried a cost measured in overdoses, lost lives, and rising crime. The dark web offered something irresistible: power without accountability. The new war. In the aftermath, ICE and Europol didn't celebrate long. Forensic teams combed through terabytes of seized data, thousands of chat logs, order records, and digital fingerprints. The findings painted a grim future. Already, new dark web markets were surfacing under different names, using AI-generated domains that change every 24 hours. Some networks had moved entirely into private messaging apps and decentralized blockchain platforms beyond the reach of current laws. One Europol agent said, "We used to fight drug lords in jungles. Now we fight them in code." The battlefield had shifted from streets to servers. The real cost. Behind the stats, 2 tons of drugs, 180 guns, 270 arrests, lies a quieter tragedy. In the US alone, fentanyl overdoses kill over 100,000 people annually. Many of those pills originated from the same networks dismantled in this operation. Each seizure isn't just numbers, it's thousands of lives that might have been saved, but the fight is exhausting, endless, and invisible. Agents describe it as chasing ghosts through data clouds. Every success comes with the knowledge that the next network is already forming. The evolving enemy. Experts believe the next generation of dark web markets will be AI-driven and self-healing. Imagine a site that detects law enforcement probes, relocates itself, and rebuilds automatically. Imagine synthetic drugs designed by machine learning to bypass bans faster than regulations can respond. This is the coming reality. The dark web isn't dying. It's evolving faster than we can adapt. And every innovation that makes our digital world smarter also makes crime harder to stop. Lessons from the takedown. Operation Dark Harvest taught law enforcement 2 crucial lessons. First, follow the data, not the drugs. Every shipment starts as code. Second, cooperation is the new weapon. No country can fight a global internet alone. This operation worked because nations shared intelligence, synchronized raids, and trusted technology. But even with that success, agents admit they've only scratched the surface. The dark web still holds millions of hidden pages, each a potential hub of crime. The war goes on, unseen, relentless, and vital. The dark web began as a symbol of freedom, a space beyond censorship. But in that freedom, monsters found shelter. The same anonymity that protects dissidents also shields dealers and traffickers. Every breakthrough in encryption gives liberty and danger. As one Europol officer said, the dark web isn't evil, but it's where evil learned to hide, and that's the paradox of our age. Every click carries both creation and destruction. The line between safety and chaos has never been thinner. Operation Dark Harvest may have shattered one of the largest illicit networks ever found. But this war is far from over. As one network collapses, another rises from the digital ashes. The next cartel won't need borders, bullets, or faces, just code. If you want to stay ahead of these hidden wars shaping our world, subscribe to our channel and hit the bell icon. Because the next big takedown won't happen in the streets, it'll happen in the cloud. And when it does, we'll be here to tell you the story beyond the click.